Mr. Das, good evening. Thanks much for joining us, sir. I'll tell you why there is some discomfort with the numbers announced. If you derived the private final consumption numbers, they come in at 10% growth for the third quarter. Manufacturing, according to the CSO, in the third quarter has risen by 8.3%. Why these numbers are uncomfortable is because when you look at the Hindustan Unilever numbers, they showed a 7% fall in volume, not prices. Asian Paints, 4% fall in volume. Sir, all the two-wheelers showed 15 to 20% fall in volume. So, I mean, they're not reconciling with the micros.
Well, I mean, if you recall, you will remember that all along, when the Q2 figures were released and when there were remarks that the Q3 will be affected because of demonetization, our response was that let us not go by anecdotal evidence. Let us wait for hard facts. Let us wait for actual statistics. I stick to the same position now. Now we have the actual statistics before us, so far as Q3 is concerned, and on that basis the projection for the whole year. So let us go by actual statistics. Now, to make a speculation at this stage that some two-wheeler, two-wheeler manufacturing sector has not did not do well during the Q3. But overall manufacturing has done well in Q3. 8.3% is a very robust growth so far as manufacturing is concerned. And also we cannot presume at this stage that the manufacturers were going on manufacturing and pushing the products into the supply chain. Now, nobody would like to block working capital and, divert capacities just for stuffing the supply channel. So all that I am saying is that the earlier projections, the earlier negative projections which were made with regard to the adverse impact, if any, of demonetization, I think they were all overestimation. And the economy has come back. It's very much back on the rails. And the process of demonetization is near complete. And if you recall, let me also mention that today morning, the OECD, while releasing their economic survey for India, the Secretary General himself has gone on record by saying that they consider India as a, star performer so far as the reforms are concerned. Now, the reform history, the reform track record of the government is very robust and it will continue to be so.
No, that is not disputed. Sir, that is not disputed. The reform agenda is not disputed. I am only not able to marry the micro numbers we get from corporates. For instance, today we got the core sector numbers. Cement is down about 14% over and above an 8% contraction in December. So, we are getting actual, all the cement companies in the third quarter, when they announced numbers, said that their volume contracted by about 8%. So, I'm not able to marry the micros and the macros.
Okay. Now, let me mention, you have referred one to the core sector data and you have also referred to real estate activity. Now, so far as core sector data is concerned, as you are aware, the sample size of that is quite limited. It's based on the, the figures of a certain number of companies. So therefore, now that we have the overall GDP numbers, the core sector data is obviously subsumed into that number. And so far as the real estate sector is concerned, let us remember that the government has now enacted the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, that act is now enacted. So the entire real estate sector is now undergoing a process of structural reform, a process of structural readjustment and correction, if you may say, if I can say so. There is greater amount of consumer protection. There is greater amount of protection to individual,
and so you're attributing lower activity to that.
So therefore, there could have been a slowdown in the real estate activity because the sector is undergoing a structural correction.
Okay.
What it's saying is there's a massive difference between the GDP and the GVA estimate. Okay?
Yes.
Now, what that suggests is exactly what we've been talking about in the past as well, which is that there has been a lot of channel stuffing, a lot of prepayment of taxes.
Okay.
So that's showing up.
Okay.
If you look at the GVA, that hasn't grown very much.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
6.6 or 6.7 or something
that's
like that.
That's right, 6.6%. So that point is taken.
6.6. But even that, I think, needs to be taken with a pinch of salt because, manufacturing has been shown to have risen very sharply. And I suspect all of that is really channel stuffing.
Okay, channel stuffing,
Okay.
which means inventory
that
stuffing.
the producer offloads his inventories onto the dealers.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so it is shown as production, and the excise is paid out on that.
Okay. Well,
With the old
in that case, Dr. Sen, at least private final consumption expenditure should not look so good. That is as high as 10% in Q3. Private final consumption expenditure.
Private consumption expenditure is always calculated as a residual. Okay, so you have your estimates of income, then you knock off what you measure reasonably accurately, which is investment and public expenditure, and what you have left is essentially consumption.
Okay. Well, in that case, I should also take issue with the gross fixed capital formation up by 3.5% for the third quarter.
No, that may well be true. Because this is fixed capital formation. So
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, that is based essentially upon the consumption of essentially steel and cement.
Okay.
I don't know whether there's channel stuffing.
No, that's a fair. No, there's a fair point that steel could have been good because year ago steel was in an extremely bad state. Yeah, with a lot of Chinese imports. So that point could be accepted.
Well, those are the two big voices on the big